Good morning. I'm Ryan Klumpner, Chair of the San Diego Housing Commission Strategic Plan Committee. The time is 11:15 on October 6th, 2025. I'm calling to order today's special meeting of the committee. We're meeting in person this morning with committee members and staff in attendance. We have a quorum with 2 committee members present. Video of today's meeting is also being streamed live online. The link to watch today's meeting is on the Housing Commission's website at www.sdhc.org. Members of the public who wish to provide comments to the committee will need to complete a speaker slip. Please submit your speaker slip to our Director of Communications, Susie Kaywood, who is standing at the side of the room. To speak in favor of any item on today's agenda, please submit the gold speaker slip. To speak in opposition to any item on the agenda, please submit the pink speaker slip. Those who wish to address the committee about a topic that is not on the agenda should fill out a white speaker slip. Members of the public will have 3 minutes each to provide their comments about agenda items or non-agenda public comments. However, if a large number of people wish to provide non-agenda public comments or speak on a single agenda item, comments will be limited to 1 minute each. Collective testimony by those who support or oppose an item shall be limited to no more than 15 minutes total per side. When I call your name, please step to the podium, state your name for the record, and begin making your comments. Now is our time for non-agenda public comment. And we have one. Joy, if you'd like to speak.
Are we ready, Susie, for 3 minutes?
You're ready.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Joy Senyata, District 3. I am honored to participate in the San Diego Housing Commission Strategic Plan Committee meeting. Here is what I have to offer you. I am not a policy wonk. Yet I do know that policies are the fabric we use to weave our governments together on a federal level, on a state level, on a city level, and on a commission level. Since January of this year, the federal government has changed, updated, even deleted many of its policies. Part of the challenge of it all is that which policies will be affected. It's a moving target. And in addition, there are politics involved. So it becomes difficult to see the forest for the trees. On a personal level, I am doing my best, the best I can. My anchor in all of this is resiliency. As I address this committee, I want to add this for you. The San Diego Housing Commission has over 300 employees and an FY26 budget for about $716 million. That's amazing. And of course, we have our Board of Commissioners. As a public, I want to say this. Your statement, "We're about people. We're about people," is so beautiful. And now, more than ever, you can be a mighty, mighty force for the people of San Diego through your example of boots on the ground, and you're doing it in your strategic plan. Boots on the ground, resiliency. Boots on the ground, resiliency. Thank you for listening today. I'm so excited to be here for this committee on the strategic plan. Love to all.
Thank you, Joy. Item 100 on our agenda today is an informational presentation about the proposed strategic plan for fiscal year 2026 through 2030. We will take public comments after the staff presentation. Our President and CEO, Lisa Jones, will introduce this item. Please begin when you're ready, Lisa.
Thank you. And I know we did a workshop on this at the last board meeting. We had the Strategic Plan Committee meeting today, and then this will be going to our board on Friday. But part of this committee process is another opportunity for public input and public voice. It's another opportunity for us to push information out to our public by a board meeting like this, by the information that was posted last week, and by the video that will be available online afterwards. So these processes are incredibly important. I'm not going to go into detail as we went into a lot of detail last time as we introduced the item, but there are a few things I'm going to repeat. And moving target, Joy, is aptly put. Heavy politics, also aptly put. In the past year, we have seen profound changes in our environment, our funding environment, and our policy priorities and political priorities at a federal level. We have funding uncertainties that are evident across all levels of government, federal, but also local and state as well. So we are in challenging times. And the environment today looks very different than when it did almost just a little under 2 years ago when I took on the role that I'm in today with the support of the board and the city council. So as the environment changes, so must we. We have to shift, we have to reevaluate ourselves, and we have to prepare ourselves so that we can be the agency we need to be to meet times as they change, to be resilient through that process, to be clear in our mission and our priorities, which of course is about the people we serve and the people throughout the city who need more help with rental assistance and need resources when they're experiencing tough times as well, when we see other areas of social impact being affected. We have to face head-on the reality that how we have worked before and the solutions that have delivered for us in the past may not meet the needs of our changing times now. But we also have to evaluate our priorities and our available resources as, frankly, our resources become more constricted and less available and our funding becomes more challenging, while our costs continue to go up. The strategic plan is our blueprint to become the agency we need to be to meet the challenging times ahead. Resilient, high-performing, focused, and forward-thinking, still thinking about how we innovate and how we bring new opportunities to the people in our community and the people who need us. And resiliency is not just going to be our theme, it's going to be our guiding principle. Resiliency as an agency, resiliency as individuals and how we support each other and how staff support each other and our leadership supports staff. Resiliency in how the board faces challenges and our city council faces challenges. And this strategic plan will also help us navigate all of that. Developing a strategic plan in a time of such profound change could seem counterintuitive, but the reality is this grounds us in our work, it focuses us on our mission, and it specifically lays out detailed measurements of how we navigate through the next several years and how we make change. So I'm incredibly grateful to all of the staff who worked on this, to the Strategic Plan Working Group, to Deborah Fischel-Falk, who's led this effort internally, to our board, our city council, our mayor, our policymakers, and all of the partners and collaborators that provided input and feedback as we've gone through this process. So thank you to all of them for that. This will be a collaborative effort going forward as well. And for a few minutes, I will hand it over to Deborah to lead us at a high level through the plan. I hope the public has had time to read through it. Joy, no doubt you have. And I hope the board has had time to review as well. And whatever conversations we have today and input that we have today, we'll make any updates to the plan that we might need to as we take it forward to the board on Friday. I'll hand it to Deb.
Thank you, Lisa. And as Lisa said, at the last board meeting on September 12th, Lisa, John Hart, and I delivered an informational presentation on the proposed strategic plan. Today, I'm going to quickly go over our mission, purpose, and core values and restate our strategic priorities. These elements are included in the proposed strategic plan and includes measures of success. The strategic plan is designed to be both strategic and adaptive. It reflects our commitment to continuous improvement and community impact through our vision, mission, purpose, and core values, which are included in this slide. We identified 5 strategic priorities that will shape our work that are also on this slide. To implement these priorities, we developed 34 initiatives, and 52 measures of success. These metrics will guide our progress and ensure transparency and accountability. Each priority is supported by specific initiatives and measurable outcomes. For example, Reimagine the Agency includes 5 initiatives and 16 success measures. Create and Preserve Housing includes 13 initiatives and 19 success measures. And our commitment to reassess annually is even backed by a dedicated initiative and metric. This structure ensures we stay focused, flexible, and results-driven. The plan is a living document designed to evolve with our community's needs and the realities we face. We will be requesting approval of the plan and authorization to implement it at this Friday's board meeting. We welcome your feedback and insights. I am happy to take any questions or comments that you may have at this time.
Thank you. We have one speaker slip from Joy.
Sorry, I have to take my staple out of there. Okay. I'm not going to jump up and down yet. I'll save that for Friday. Okay. I'm primarily going to say what I said at the board meeting in September, but I made, I think, one adjustment. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Deborah. Great job. Lisa, you hit a home run. Your opening statement is just, every single word is just perfect. Thank you. And of course, the use of the word resilience and incorporating it, and like you did, and make it a reality is terrific. So 5 stars on that, Lisa. I think I'll add a plus sign too. So my likes are, I'm just going to sort of rattle off some things. So my likes are the strategic planning team, a clear, actionable roadmap for San Diego Housing Commission now and into the future. Reimagine the agency in a period of profound, I love that you used the word profound, Lisa, a profound change. That is a very truthful statement. I love that word profound, and it fits. So my likes on the priorities, 1.4, yes, optimize technology resources. 1.5, leverage San Diego Housing Commission's prominence, expertise to shape the housing field. I'll say more about that on Friday, but thank you for owning your own greatness. Thank you for the Preservation Fund. Congratulations. Yay, Wendy. We're going to keep it moving forward. I do have a question on that. What happened to the Affordable Housing Prevention Ordinance, which preceded the Preservation Fund and was approved? I would have liked to have had that in there. So I did relook at, I was kind of whining a little bit at the person-centered staff engagement and how it related to the person-centered community engagement, which is 4.2.1 and 4.1.1. But I relooked at it, and I think it's pretty solid. I feel really comfortable with it. So thank you so much for the customer service working group. Love the words, emphasis on prevention with homelessness. I think we're all getting it now. Preservation, prevention, and empowering our people. That's it. The 3 Ps, which I introduced here about 5 years ago. This is the work of greatness. It's been 2 years, folks. I was at the working group workshop in 2 years ago, 2023, and I've waited until this now. So great job. Love to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Commissioner? Do you have any questions or comments?
I will say that I'm impressed by what has gone into the strategic plan. It's thorough. as many people that were in on it, the staff, commissioners, just everyone. It's amazing and it looks good. So hats off to everyone's staff for this. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been asking a lot of questions all along the way for the past year, so I neither want to surprise anybody by having sat on feedback until now, which I'm sure you'd all be thrilled to get at the 11th hour here. But I also want to make clear that there's been a lot more engagement than has been seen in the public hearings, even though we have had regular updates. And so let me just run through a few things that I think are important and different about this strategic plan. One being that, the challenge with strategic planning is always how much you are incorporating the expertise that exists at the top of an organization versus the experience that exists downstream, all the way through the rest of the staff, to the people that we serve, to the people that we are trying to serve but cannot serve right now. And I think that this planning process struck the right balance on gathering everything that needed to be gathered from across the organization and the community that we are serving. There is a level of detail and specificity here that only comes when we ask the people who are in charge of departments and programs for real, meaningful input. And there is a sense of priorities and values that is really grounded in talking to the people that we're serving and our partners and the entire community as a whole. And so I'm very happy with the level of thought and sincere input that was sought during this process. The other thing that I want to emphasize yet again is the challenge of the time that we are doing this. And I'm going to echo what Lisa said, that this really has, I think, the amount of change going on and being forced to do this process amidst major change has been a bit of a benefit. I think that the reality is, if we were to back up to our last strategic plan, there was already tremendous change underway that sometimes when it's not as radical and visible, we don't think about. But if we think about what has happened with the Section 8 wait list over the past 15 years, let's say, if we think about the conditions of homelessness, the causes of homelessness, the resources available, and what we have learned about how to support people who are experiencing homelessness, that is radically different than it was 10 or 15 years ago. If we go back 15 years, there was no year-round shelter in the city of San Diego. And so I don't think it's that this year is entirely unique in the amount of change that has been happening. It has just been a type and a pace of change that has forced us to think very comprehensively about our mission and how we're going to continue working towards it. If I was to look at, I think, mistakes that have been made by the organization, I'm going to point out one and talk about how I think the strategic plan is going to help us avert future mistakes. And I'm going to clarify what I mean by mistake here. We have devoted an enormous number of project-based vouchers towards projects, primarily for the purpose of generating permanent supportive housing, where we need that voucher revenue to make the services and the maintenance work out. I don't think that was a mistake because of the number of people who have left homelessness on the street and are now served and housed in permanent supportive housing. But I think that the mistake was, at the time, the strategic discussion around that did not take place with the openness that needed to happen. And the effect of that is that the part that was not discussed is what that priority would mean to people who were on the waiting list, to people who would be signing up for the waiting list, who were currently housed but rent burdened. And I think that the that both the development community that builds affordable housing and the policymakers that were approving those things had not fully wrestled with what the impact of that change to the voucher program would be. I think that this plan, what it does most successfully is that, as Joy mentioned earlier, it's important for us to keep the forest in view for the trees. And the reason that that is so important is that when we have too few resources to meet the goals that we're trying to achieve, then we have to be thinking about the entire system and how it all fits together. And this plan, I think, lays out what the priorities of this organization are, how those priorities fit together, how we will be measuring success, the changes that will be made, and how we will come up with those changes on an annual basis. And my hope is that the outcome of this is that in the future, as we do continue dealing with major problems such as homelessness, that we are all as a community on the same page about where the resources are coming from, how they're going to be used, and what the impact of those resources leaving somewhere else will be. Because that is the situation that we are in, is how we allocate too few resources. And so I very much appreciate a plan that is this detailed, this thoughtful, this interconnected, and that has the resilience in mind, because the resilience really is what we are going to need to continue to fill the role that we've played in the community and hopefully improve that role over the next 5 years. So that's all I have to offer. Lisa.
I think I'd like to add on to a little bit of what you said. I think that's a good point when you talk about mistake, as you, not so much a mistake, but maybe choices and what those choices meant, right? So creating permanent supportive housing is creating housing for our most vulnerable people on our streets, the most vulnerable people in our community. So questioning whether that's the right thing to do is like a hard conversation for anybody to have. So it addresses and serves those that are the most vulnerable on our streets. And when they say the most vulnerable, HUD's definition of vulnerability from a permanent supportive housing standpoint is mortality. The most likely to die on the streets. That's what they mean by the most vulnerable. So it's a heavy responsibility and a huge need. But to your point, the wait list doesn't move. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people on the waiting list that are in very heavy need as well. Issuing project-based vouchers creates new housing stock, right? So it adds to the number of housing units we have in our community. A project-based voucher creates a new development. A tenant-based voucher leases up in the units that are already there in our community. So issuing project-based vouchers increases housing stock, and also we know a new house that's being developed, a brand new unit, is a very high quality unit. So it's the highest quality unit for the person moving into that unit. So it's an incredibly valuable component of what we do. So those are real positives in PBV and PSH, project-based vouchers and permanent supportive housing. But we also know that they cost us more as an agency. Project-based vouchers cost us more on a monthly basis than a tenant-based voucher does. Permanent supportive housing vouchers cost us more on a monthly basis than a traditional voucher does. So there are costs that are incurred, both from a wait list perspective and how that moves, and basically from a funding perspective. But they are, those costs are moral choices. They're choosing to do something that we know is worth the investment, right? We know it is worth spending more to get that person off the street into a place where they feel safe. We know it is worth spending more to create new units of housing stock that take pressure off the private market and hopefully ease the ability for people who don't have a voucher to get into units. So they're value statements, right? But what we learn as we go through, and what we couldn't have known 5 years ago that we are learning today, is what those financial impacts mean as an agency. And so as we navigate the next 4 to 5 years, as we work through this strategic plan, we are going to be constantly balancing our value statement and how we spend money with what money we have available. What I was very impressed with as the staff developed this strategic plan and what I know will carry us through and continue to keep us aligned with the agency we are, from a sort of like how we work and operate from our hearts, how we operate from our values, is that as much as this strategic plan is full of looking at how we can be thoughtful, cost-effective, more efficient, increase revenue, reduce cost, it is also looking at how we innovate and how we still deliver new opportunities to our community. And that is the balance that all of us will be weighing. Our executive leadership team, myself, our policymakers, all of the staff that actually put a lot of this work together at every level, and our partners. Those are the values and challenges that we are going to be balancing as we navigate the next 5 years. And it takes all of us. It takes more than the commission. It takes more than the staff here. It takes more than our policymakers. It takes our community-based organizations, the voices of lived experience, the voices of the people we serve, our development partners, our social service partners, whether they're health and human services, child welfare, child care, all of those things to do this work. But I thank you for raising that, Commissioner Klumpner, because those value statements are critical, and they really lead us to do what we do, but we also are learning the costs we pay to make those choices.
If I was to add one more thing, I'd say that, this is strategic planning for a public agency on some level is a trust building exercise with the public, with our partners, and the solution to a lot of the challenges that we're facing would be a new or additional revenue source that would allow us to improve the things that we know are working and expand the things that we know are working. And in order to do that and to build that trust, we need to be clear with how it is that we spend our current resources, what our plan is for the additional resources, and why those resources are worth the investment from the public. So if that is our highest goal here, is to establish the trust that we need to be given the resources to help create the city and the community that we're trying to create, then I think that this plan has done a fantastic job at that. And I have faith that it will continue to do that job over the next 5 years that it is implemented. If there's no other questions or comments, this is an informational item only, so we have no motion required. This concludes the committee's meeting today. This meeting is adjourned at 11:43 a.m. Thank you very much.